This is the Lancashire boiler. This is the front view. This is top view, and this is side view. Okay. So in first look, you may not recognize what is the shape, what is the actual visualization of this boiler. Okay. So I will show you video also. In that video, you can see it in a 3D view. You can see all processes happening. So in front view, I will tell you this is the outer cylinder. This is the outer shell. Inside view, you can see this is the outer cylindrical shell, which contains two fire tubes, which contains two fire tubes. Why it is called as fire tube? This tube contains the grate. This tube contains the grate. Here you can see this is the grate on which fuel is supplied. On the grate, fuel is supplied, and combustion of fuel takes place. Combustion of fuel takes place, and the flue gases formed. The combustible gases moves in this direction. Combustible gases moves in this direction. When combustible gases, that is flue gases, moves in this direction, flue gases along with flue gases, ash also moves in the rightward direction. Here you can see a fire bridge. You can see a fire bridge which prevents the movement of flue gases, which prevents the movement of flue gases. Therefore, prevent the movement of ash. So ash is collected here. Ash is collected here. Even though some part of ash moves along with the flue gases. So flue gases first moves in this direction. Okay, first moves in this direction, then it come out of from the downward direction. Flue gases comes out of downward direction. And in top view, I will show you. This is the pipe. This is fire tubes. There are two fire tubes, and it is surrounded by water. These tubes are surrounded by water. Means this outer shell is completely filled by water. It's completely filled by water. So when flue gases moves through the fire tube, water is heated with the help of fire tubes. Water is heated with the help of fire tube. Flue gases moves in this direction and then it comes down. And then from down direction it moves from the lateral side or from the outer side of the outer shell. Outer side of the outer shell. So water gets heated from outside also. Water gets heated from outside also. Then finally, look at here. This flue gas from fire tube moves in the downward direction. Then from downward direction to again return to the to heat the water from outside this cylindrical shell, means in this direction. Then finally it passes over the superheater. Finally, it passes over the superheater. Then it escapes to the chimney via economizer. Then escape to the chimney via economizer. In superheater, Steam gets superheated. In the economizer, water is preheated. Water is preheated before. When the water supplies, it comes through the economizer, then it supplies to the boiler, actually in boiler drum. So I will explain you it with the help of video also. But let me explain its construction first. It consists of outer cylindrical shell which carries the water as well as two fire tubes. This fire tube carries grate on which combustion is taking place. On which combustion is taking place. On the fire, on the grate, you can see a fuel is supplied and combustion is taking place. The flue gas is formed through combustion is moves in this direction along with flue gas. Ash also moves in this direction, but there is a fire bridge which prevents the movement of ash along with the flue gas. Outer shell has some mountings. Outer shell consists of a safety wall or the safety region for prevent boiler from high pressure. Then steam stop valve for supplying steam. It supplies steam stop valve supplies steam to the superheater. Superheater also has one vent which supplies steam to the application area. It may be to the industry, it may be to the boiler turbine. Then there is a manhole for maintenance and repairing. Okay. Blow off cock is also provided for cleaning, for draining the mud and salts. Uh, Image here you also you can see this is a cylindrical outer shell which stores the water and steam. This is the first fire tube. This is second fire tube. Here is the grate. You can see this is the grate. This is a fire tube where combustion is taking place. This is a brick arc which prevents the entry of coal and ash in the fire tubes. The flue gas first moves in this direction, then it moves in this direction, then it again moves in the upward direction where from lateral side it hits the water. Okay. Next, locomotive boiler. I will explain locomotive boiler with the help of video also. This is the firebox. This is the firebox where combustion of fuel is taking place. At this end, there will be a cabin. At this end, there will be a cabin. Uh, Here, there will be a cabin. From this end, hmm, this is the cabin of the loco pilot. Here, cabin of the loco pilot. Here, there will be storage of coal. From this end, operator takes the coal and supply coal in the firebox. This is the firebox. This is a firebox. Now flue gas is formed during combustion, flows through the tubes. Flows through the tubes. Therefore, this is fire tube boiler. This is fire tube boiler. We are talking about the locomotive boiler. We are talking about locomotive boiler. Here you can see there are two different types of fire tubes. These are small fire tubes and these are bigger fire tubes. These are bigger in diameter. This blue portion represents the water. Blue portion represents the water. Here, when flue gases move through the tubes, water absorbs the heat from the fire tubes and increases its temperature. As the temperature increases, it water moves in the upward direction, and finally steam form is collected over here. Finally, steam form is collected over here. Now, steam from this dome enters in this pipe, enters in main steam pipe. Then from main steam pipe there is a superheater. It enters in the superheater. Look at here, superheater pipes are inserted inside the bigger fire tube. This is the first, this is the second, this is the third. So main purpose of bigger diameter of fire tube is to accommodate superheater inside that to superheat the steam. Here the diameter of fire tube is very small. So superheater cannot be accommodated. Therefore, two different types of fire tubes are provided here to accommodate with a lower diameter and bigger diameter. Bigger diameter to accommodate superheater inside that to superheat the steam. Okay. Now when superheated steam comes out of the main pipe, it enters this red color represents the superheated steam. The superheated steam enters in the reciprocating engine. In the reciprocating engine, it is the double acting engine. It is double acting engine which works from the both the end. So this steam runs the reciprocating engine, and finally this piston of the reciprocating engine is connected with the connecting rod, and then connecting rod is finally connected with the wheel, and wheel rotates. As the wheel rotates, locomotive moves. It consists of a chimney. Can you tell me the height of chimney is why height of chimney in locomotive is very short? It why it cannot be longer as power plant? Can you tell me anybody?
Sometimes there were tunnels are also present in route.
Yes, locomotive is a moving power plant. Okay, it has to move. Because of moving, the if the chimney is longer, it cannot withstand due to the thrust and other vibration. And one more thing, it has to pass through tunnels and pools and bridges, all isn't it? So it can touch. So there is a restriction of height in case of locomotive. But we know that natural drought is produced with the help of chimney height. So here natural drought cannot be produced. Natural drought cannot be produced. Also, this is a non-condensate type power plant. Non-condensate type means in power plant what happens when the water convert into steam, which expands in turbine and which is condensed in the condenser, and that steam is again reused. That steam is again reused by condensing it. It is called as a condensate type of power plant. And non-condensate type of power plant means once the water is converted into steam, it cannot be reused. Means it we have to waste it. We have to waste it. So here there is a no condenser. So therefore, it is a non-condensate type. Therefore, whatever water is converting into steam is going waste. So uh, without wasting it, what we do, we use it for producing the draught. We use it for producing the draught. So high velocity steam is passed through the chimney. Okay, high velocity steam passed through the chimney. It produces the suction for the flue gases. Therefore flue gases also moves through the chimney with very high velocity, and it produces a draught. This is called as a steam draught. This is called as a steam draught. So it comes under the category of mechanical draught. So we'll see in the draught portion. This is the locomotive. This is the structure of locomotive. This is a firebox. This is firebox. This is fire door. There will be a cabin. These are tubes. Here you can see at a lower end, these are smaller tubes. Okay, and these are bigger tubes. Bigger tubes are required for to accommodate the superheater, and smaller tubes are required for greater surface area. Okay, this is chimney. Next, water tube boiler. Babcock Wilcox boiler is the first water tube boiler which was proposed by Babcock and Wilcox. These are two inventors. Okay. Look at here, it consists of a bigger cylindrical drum. It consists of a bigger cylindrical drum which carries various mountings, and it is mounted on a brickwork. It is mounted on the brickwork. It consists of inclined tubes through which water flows. Through which water flows. Since water is flowing through the tubes, it is called as a water tube boiler. It is called as a water tube boiler. This is a safety valve mounted on the chest of boiler drum. Pressure gauge, water level indicator, fit check valve, anti-priming tube. Then this is super heater. Then main stop valve. From this end, it enters, steam enters in the application area. This is the furnace. This is a grate. The lower portion is ash pit, and this portion is the furnace, or we can say it is the combustion chamber where combustion takes place. This is a fire door through which fuel is supplied on the furnace. Now water tubes are supported on the brickwork. Water tubes are supported on the brickwork. On the brickwork, some baffles are also provided for changing the direction of flue gases. For changing the direction of flue gases, so that proper heating of water takes place. Here, manholes are provided. This stands for door for cleaning and maintenance purposes. This end also supported on the brickwork. Now here you can see this is downtake header and it is a uptake header. Now what is meant by downtake header? Is from downtake header water moves in the downward direction and enters in the tubes. It enters in the tubes. As the flue gases moves over the water tubes, temperature of water increases, and as the temperature of water increases, density decreases and water moves in the upward direction. Water moves in the upward direction. Therefore, this is a natural circulation type boiler. Understood what is natural circulation? As the temperature of water increases, water automatically moves in the upward direction. Water automatically moves in the upward direction. Now, from this heater, water moves in the downward direction from the drum. Therefore, it is called a downtake heater. And from this heater, water moves in the upward direction in the boiler drum. Now, this heater is also required to clean the water tubes. And the advantage of this water tube is that all water tubes are separated from each other. Means one water tube is damaged. No need to change complete water tube pipeline. You can replace that particular water tube separately. Here you can see this water tube is different, this water tube is different, means same in diameter, but these are not connected to each other. If this water tube is damaged, you can change this only. No need to change complete water tubes. Therefore, headers are provided to change it. You can remove upper header and lower header, downtake header and uptake header, and you can change the water tube. Also, through header, cleaning of pipe, water tubes can also take place. Now, when flue gases flows in the upward direction from the furnace, first it moves in the upward direction. It strikes the boiler drum. It strikes the boiler drum and it moves in the downward direction. Look at here. These baffle plates are provided in such a way that flue gas moves in the upward direction first, then it moves in the downward direction. Okay. Here restriction is there. It moves in the downward direction. Then from this end, it moves again in the upward direction. It moves again in the upward direction. And then finally it is escaped to the chimney. Here there will be a damper. Here there will be a damper which produce a suction like effect and the flue gases will move in the chimney. Now this drum, half portion of the drum is filled with water. The lower portion is water. Water enters in the downtake heater, and as the temperature of water increases, water moves in the upward direction and get stored again in the water drum. Get stored again in the water drum. and the portion of the water which converts into steam is collected at the top of the drum. Is collected at the top of the drum. Now steam have to supply to the application area, but superheater is also provided in this. So this wet steam is supplied in the superheater, and superheater is connected with the anti-priming pipe. Superheater is connected with anti-priming pipe. Anti-priming pipe prevents the entry of wet part of the steam in the superheater. Means in superheater only saturated or dry steam enters. And you can see the flue gases moves over the superheater. 1 minute. Flue gases moves over the superheater and it superheats the steam, and the superheated steam finally exhausted or supplied to the application area from the main stop wall. From the main stop wall. Okay. And you know the function of safety valve, pressure gauge, water level indicator, feed check valve. We have already discussed. This is the industrial boiler. Most of the industrial boiler are oil fired because in industry requires sophisticated type of boiler where very small amount of smoke or very small amount of or greater cleanliness is required. So oil fired boiler is used in the industry. So these are some pictures of industrial boiler. Now merit and demerit of water tube boiler or the fire tube boiler. Merit: generation of steam is much quicker due to small ratio of water content to steam content. My generation of steam is greater than the fire tube boiler. This also helps in reaching the steaming temperature in short time. As the tubes of water tube boiler are very small as compared to water content in the fire tubes, the generation of steam is very small and it can fulfill the required in short time. Its evaporative capacity is considerably larger and the steam pressure range is also high, up to 200 bar. Heating surface are more effective as the hot gases travels at a right angle to the direction of water. Means flue gases are moves perpendicular to the direction of water tubes. The combustion efficiency is higher because the complete combustion of the fuel is possible as the combustion space is much larger. The complete combustion is possible in case of water tube because combustion space is much larger. The thermal stresses in the boiler part are less as the different parts of the boiler remains at a uniform temperature due to quick circulation of water. The boiler can be easily transported and erected as its different part can be separated. Damage due to the bursting of water tube is less serious because flue gases are not flowing through the pipe. It is surrounded to the pipe. If water is flowing through the tubes and water is continuously in circulation mode. Water is continuously in circulation, therefore overheating of tube does not take place. Therefore, water tube boiler are sometimes called as a safety boiler. All parts of the water tube boiler are easily accessible for cleaning, inspection and repairing. The water tube boiler's furnace area can be easily altered to meet the fuel requirement. Now demerits. It is less suitable for impure and sedimentary water. Means it is not suitable or very less suitable for impure and sedimentary water because water is flowing through the tube. If water contains some impurity, impurity will be deposited in the tube and it will act as a scale and insulation. So steam generation will be reduced. As a small deposit of the scale may cause the overheating and bursting of the tube. Therefore, use of purified water is essential. They require careful attention. The maintenance cost is also higher. Failure in the feed water supply, even a short period of time, is liable to make the boiler overheating. Now, requirement of a good boiler. Requirement of good boiler. The boiler should be capable to generate steam at a required pressure and quantity as quickly as possible with a minimum fuel consumption. The initial cost, installation cost, and the maintenance cost should be as low as possible. The boiler should be light in weight and should occupy small floor area. The boiler must be able to meet the fluctuation demands without pressure fluctuation. All the part of boiler should be easily approachable for the cleaning and inspection. The boiler should have minimum joints to avoid leaks which may occur due to expansion and contraction. The boiler should be erected at site within the reasonable time and with the minimum labor. The water and flue gas velocity should be high for high heat transfer rate with a minimum pressure drop through the system. There should be no deposition of the mud and foreign materials on the inside surface and soot deposition on the outer surface of the heat transforming part. The boiler should conform to the safety regulation as laid down in the Boiler Act. Now, high pressure boiler. Now, we have completed fire tube boiler and low pressure water tube boiler. In low pressure water tube boiler, we saw Babcock Wilcox. Okay, now high pressure boiler. All high pressure boilers are water tube boiler, and all fire tube boilers are low pressure boiler because high pressure cannot be generated in the fire tube boiler. In water tube boilers are capable for generating high pressures. Therefore, all high pressure boilers are water tube boiler. So, in all modern power plants, high pressure boilers are used and are universally used as they offers the following advantage. And what is meant by high pressure boiler? The boiler generates the pressure greater than 100 bar, then it is called as a high pressure boiler. Now, what is the advantage? In order to obtain efficient operation and high capacity, forced circulation of water through the boiler tubes is found helpful. Some special type of boiler operated at a supercritical pressure and using forced circulation are described in the. Now, merit of the high pressure boiler. The efficiency and capacity of plant can be increased as reduced quantity of steam required for the same power generation if high pressure steam is used. The forced circulation of the water through boiler tube provides freedom in the arrangement of furnace and water walls in addition to the reduction in the heat exchanger area. The tendency of scale formation is reduced due to the high velocity of water. The danger of overheating is reduced as well as all the parts are uniformly heated. The differential expansion is reduced due to uniform temperature and this reduces the possibility of gas and air leakage. Some special type of high pressure supercritical boilers are described in the chapter. Now I will tell you what is high pressure and high pressure supercritical or critical boiler. The working pressure of the boiler is critical. And what is critical pressure? Critical pressure is 221.2 bar. 221.2 bar is the critical pressure. If the boiler is working on this pressure, if the working pressure of the boiler is 221.2 bar, then it is called as a critical pressure. And at this critical pressure, water converts into steam. Water converts into steam without boiling. Without boiling. This is the advantage of critical boiler. If the working pressure is greater than 221.2 bar, then it's called a supercritical boiler. supercritical boiler. And the advantage of such boilers are we do not require any latent heat to supply it. We do not require latent heat to supply it because at the time of boiling is latent heat is required. At the time of boiling of water, latent heat is required to convert liquid phase into vapor phase. But here, if the water is pressurized up to this pressure or above it, it converts from liquid phase to vapor phase without undergoing the boiling process. Without undergoing the boiling process. And the power plants which works on this pressure is called as a critical power plant, and which are working above this pressure which is called as supercritical power plant. Now high pressure boiler. First, Lamont boiler. Now, Lamont boiler is a water tube high pressure vertical shell boiler. We'll talk about its construction first. It is a vertical boiler. It is high pressure. It is a water tube boiler. The lower end consists of a grate. It is the grate, and below the grate, the region will be ash pit. It consists of a boiler drum. It consists of a boiler drum which stores the water. This is a feed check valve. Feed check from feed check valve, water first enters in the economizer. Water first enters in the economizer. Then from economizer it stores water in the drum. It stores water in the drum. Then from drum water enters in the economizer. Sorry, evaporator. Water enters in the evaporator. In the evaporator, water gets evaporated. Some part of water gets evaporated and remaining again come back to the this separating drum. Why it is called a separating drum? Because it separates the water and the steam. Now the portion which has been converted into steam enters in the superheater. Now steam enters in the superheater, and this superheated steam finally supply to the main wall, main stop wall, and then from main main stop wall to the turbine, main stop wall to turbine. So it contains great economizer, evaporator, superheater. So now you understand how water cycle, you can means you have understood water cycle in this plant. So first, water from the feed check wall enters in the economizer where water is preheated, and this preheated water is stored in the separating tank first. Then this preheated water is supplied. This preheated water is supplied to the evaporator where water gets converted into steam or wet steam. So this wet steam again enters in the separating drum where steam is separated here, and the steam only enters in the superheater, and this steam gets superheated, and superheated steam is supplied to the main stop wall, and then from main stop wall to the turbine. Now gas cycle. From the fire door, fuel is supplied. From the fire door, fuel is supplied on the grate where the combustion takes place. And this region is called as a combustion chamber. This region is called as a combustion chamber. And here ash will be collected. So it is the ash pit. Here combustion takes place, the flue gases or combustible gases moves in the upward direction. Moves in the upward direction. First, it hits the water in the evaporator, then it hits the water in the superheater, and then it hits the water in the economizer. Water in the economizer. So in evaporator, water is converted into steam. Here, wet steam or saturated steam is converted into superheated steam in superheater. Here, the feed water is preheated in the economizer. And further, it moves in the upward direction. This is the chimney. Further, it moves in the upward direction and it preheats the preheater, air preheater. It preheats the air which is to be supplied for the combustion. Now here combustion is taking place. Here combustion in the furnace is taking place. So for the combustion, what required? Only fuel, or along with fuel, air is also required. Combustion takes place in presence of oxygen, and oxygen is separate. We cannot supply oxygen separately. We supply air for the combustion, and during combustion, it takes oxygen to get combustion. Okay. So if we supply air directly from the atmosphere, atmospheric air contains more moisture, and it may hamper the combustion process. It may hamper the combustion process means if the cold air is there, the combustion heat generated from the combustion will be slightly less. Therefore, air is supplied which is a hot. So from atmosphere, this fan or blower supplies air to the preheater, and this heated air is supplied to the furnace. This heated air is supplied to the furnace. Means it contains less moisture or moisture in the evaporated or steam form. So it doesn't much hamper the combustion process. Therefore, whenever air is required, it does not supply direct atmospheric air. It is passes through the air preheater. So now first time you are able to get air preheater. So this is air preheater is the accessories. We have already seen economizer and superheater. So superheater is also accessories. Economizer is also accessories. Okay, but evaporator tube are generally called as a boiler tubes. Okay, a forced circulation boiler was first introduced in 1925 by Lamont. The arrangement of the water circulation and the different components are shown in figure. Let me finish. The feed water from the hot well is supplied to storage and separating drum. The feed water from the hot well, yes, it is coming from the hot well. It's supplied to the separating drum through economizer. Most of the sensible heat is supplied to the feed water passing through the economizer. Means most of the sensible heat means most of the temperature rise is takes place in the economizer only. The pump circulates the water at the rate of 8 to 10 times 8 to 10 times the mass of steam evaporated. This water is circulated through the evaporator tube and the part of the vapor is separated in the separating drum. The large quantity of water circulates, that is 10 times that of evaporation, prevents the tube from being overheated. Thus, centrifugal pump delivers the water at the pressure of 2.5 bar above the drum pressure. Means the drum pressure is less than 2.5 bar and supplies water at about 2.5 bar or at the 2.5 bar. The water in the boiler drum is a pass through the economizer. The water in the boiler drum is passed through the economizer. Okay. The steam separated in the boiler drum is further passed through the superheater. Steam separated here further passed through the superheater. To secure the uniform flow of feed water through each of the parallel boiler circuit, a choke valve is fitted at the entrance of the each circuit. These boilers have been built to generate 45 to 50 tons of superheated steam at a pressure of 120 bar and temperature of 500 degrees Celsius. Recently, forced circulation has been introduced in large capacity power plant. The main difficulty expressed in the Lamont boiler is a formation and attachment of bubble in the inner surface of the heating tubes. Look at here. When water enters in the evaporator, it is in the saturated condition, and the boiling of the water takes place. Boiling of the water takes place in the tube, and due to the boiling, bubbles formation takes place. And due to bubble formation, a bubble is a thin film of inside which nothing is there or vacuum is there. So it act as a insulator. It act as a insulator. Therefore, heat transfer rate decreases. This is the disadvantage of lemon boiler. Okay. Remaining part we'll see in the next class.